Hi, my name is Emily. I'm from Defence Force Recruiting and we are live today from the home of the soldier, which is Kapooka, just outside of Wagga Wagga. Every soldier will begin their career here at Kapooka. It's where you will complete your 12 weeks initial military training or 35 days for Army Reserve, and will work both in classroom and outdoor environments to become skilled in weapon handling and shooting, first aid, communications, navigation, living out in the field, and much more. Physical fitness is an important part of military life, and at Kapooka you will build and maintain your fitness at the gym, on the high ropes course and obstacle course, both with the support of your instructors and fellow Army recruits. You'll live in dormitory style accommodation, and between training commitments we'll have access to Kapooka's cafe and general store, cinema, post office and barber. I'm here tonight with 3 Army personnel to answer your questions about all of this. If you have any questions for us at all about life and training at Kapooka, we will be here for the next hour, so stay with us and be sure to get your questions written in. Now we'll start with traditional introductions. If you could please share with us your name and job role.
Sure, so my name's Corin and I am an Army Reservist and I signed up as an infantry soldier.
My name's Eloise and I'm going in as air dispatcher.
My name's Jack and I'm going in as an artillery operator.
Wonderful. What made you choose to apply not only for your specific job roles but for the Army?
So for myself, I have sort of wanted to join for a couple of years, but had other commitments like university and things which made it a bit difficult. So I want to eventually deploy and also challenge myself, which is why I picked infantry soldier, because I've heard it's one of the more physical and more challenging roles out there.
For myself, joining the Army's always been something I've thought about in the back of my head. Didn't really have many plans towards the end of my schooling, and then earlier this year I saw a post on Facebook about it and I kind of just went, you know what, I don't want to be at uni, may as well give it a shot. And I'd heard that air dispatcher was one of the jobs that could get you quite a few deployments, and also sounded interesting.
Yeah, I always had the seed in the back of my mind but never really acted on it. And then sort of in the last year or so I sort of started taking the first steps to joining up. And I only chose artillery operator to sort of get experience on the gun line before trade transferring into forward observer.
So is that where you see yourself progressing or specialising within your job roles?
For myself, I'd like to eventually progress after a couple of years as an infantry soldier, maybe to another corps, or possibly become a medic, or do a few other courses. There's lots of opportunities, so I'm looking forward to exploring whatever comes up.
I would ideally like to move up the ranks, maybe a corporal or a sergeant one day, possibly come back here to Kapooka as a recruit instructor, but ideally I'd like to give a loadmaster a crack and try that out.
And definitely coming back as a recruit instructor would be nice, but mainly focusing on trade transferring.
Were you always set on a military career? Do you have family or friends serving currently?
I don't have any family members serving or that have served in the past, but it's something that interested me. Definitely wasn't always something I was going to do, but I'm really glad at this stage that I've taken the first step and am now into it.
I have an uncle who's in the Navy, but it never really played a huge role on my decision to come here. Didn't really think much of it, especially like graduating high school. It wasn't up until this year that I really got a bit of drive to come try it out.
I had a grandfather and a few uncles that were in the military, in the Navy and the Army, but it was probably more, I didn't have much contact with them, so it was probably more Dad's stories that egged me on.
Yeah, nice. We have had a few questions start coming through, so we can jump straight into them. Mark has asked, can I leave base or am I there 24/7?
So for myself as an Army Reservist, we haven't had the opportunity to leave as yet, but I believe that we do have some local leave that I understand you guys have.
Yeah, so for myself and Jack, we're in the same week of training. We got local leave week 5 on the Saturday, as well as week 9. So you get to go out to Wagga, just the main street there, it's got everything on offer, and you're there from about 9, 10 o'clock to about 5 p.m.
Yeah, it's all programmed, so you don't leave when you want to, but it really does just help you focus on training.
Yeah, absolutely. Jen has asked, do you get time off to see family or friends? So I guess, is this during your local leave or is there other opportunities?
Yeah, that sort of plays into that. Like on Sundays we go to church and it's sort of just a bit of time, you get an hour or so to relax, but you can have family come visit you and they can come visit you on local leave, but you aren't really able to go visit or back to home until you finish your training.
Genevieve asked, is this kind of training similar to that of which an officer will experience?
Considering none of us are really going in as officers, we're not entirely sure about that. Officers go to a different training facility to us. The best way would be to check out Defence Jobs website.
Absolutely. And reserve officers, do they come through Kapooka?
I believe so, yeah. There's some officer cadets from our home unit that are here at the moment. So yeah, they certainly do come here. I think from my understanding it's the same time period as we do, but I think they have a bit more to do, or they definitely have some more to do once they leave here than we do.
That info is all on the Defence Jobs website as well.
Yeah, once again, yeah.
Absolutely. Ismail has asked what the minimum education requirements are for entry.
So for most general entry jobs it's year 10, but then certain jobs will have different education requirements which you can find on the Defence Jobs website.
Basically, just to get your general entry is year 10 minimum.
It's
From
math,
there you
maths
can
and English, I
build
believe.
up, yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms of entry, year 10 English and maths are your education requirements. Would you recommend anyone study anything specific prior to coming to Kapooka, perhaps outside of school?
In your own time, it would help to study up on military history just to help you adjust, but really you do learn everything you need to know here. So if you come here with a fresh sort of plate, you'll be fine. There's nothing to really worry about as long as you've got those minimum education requirements.
Yeah, 100%. I really had nothing really to do with Army, knowing much about it, but they teach you everything you need to know here at basic training.
Yeah, and the home unit, my home unit prepared us pretty well anyway with some of the basics about rank structure and history as well during the period where I was waiting to come to Kapooka. So that was helpful. But yeah, if people are going to do a bit of research at home, it's a nice head start, but it's not essential. You're really provided with all the information you need once you get here, so it's great.
Perfect. Why don't we talk about a day in the life of training here in Kapooka? What does a normal day look like for you?
So it depends on whether you have PT on or not. So if you have PT, you'll normally get up 15 minutes early. So you normally have a 5:45 wake up and eat breakfast in the lines before getting ready and going out to PT. So PT could be endurance training, strength, obstacle course training, those sorts of things. If you don't have PT on, 6 o'clock wake up, get dressed, make your bed before heading to the mess, which is just a dining hall basically for breakfast, and then you do your basic cleaning of the lines and go on to your day's activity.
Yeah, which would just be lessons, whether it be weapon lessons, med, or personal admin, which is learning, like, ironing your uniform, cleaning your room, getting all your personal sort of things sorted, studying. And
then you go to bed around 10 p.m. at night, 11 o'clock on Saturdays, and then Sundays you get to sleep in until 7.
That's always
Everyone
nice.
looks forward to that one.
But the lessons as well aren't, they're a mixture of classrooms, so you learn the theory and then you do some things out in the field as well. So it's not like you're sitting in the classroom all day. There's a bit of that, and then you're out there doing things with weapons or at the firing range, so it really varies.
What is the ratio between prac and theory?
They try to make it much more practical. Most of the people who join the Army, as it is, are more practical-based people. They try to keep lessons to as short and minimum as possible.
It's mainly just front-loading information so that when they show you something practically, like get your hands on with a rifle or hands on with med, you understand like the certain catchwords and things to do with it, and you can sort of, it's a good way of just getting you warmed up to actually learn in the practical environment.
Yeah.
The lessons are more safety kind of type things, you know, making sure you understand what to do and what not to do. for when you get out there to actually start hands-on learning.
Yeah, they're definitely helpful, but it's more, there's definitely a lot more practical. So it's probably something like maybe 20-30% theory and the rest practical, I'd say.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, nice. Claire asked what the accommodation is like.
It's not too bad. I came in here thinking terrible things, but no, it's actually pretty good. So you can have up to about 5 in a room, females, males, separate rooms. Depends on the size of your platoon, depends on how many people will be in your room with you. So there's a bunk bed or possibly 2, and then just single beds, spring mattresses.
Yeah, locker each, mirror, towel rack, if you call it that. It's nothing flash, but it sort of does the job and it's comfortable.
Yeah, it's got everything you need, basically. And there's in one of the buildings there's a picture of what the accommodation was like back in the 50s or something. It was definitely a lot better.
Marginal improvement.
Bathrooms and showers are communal, so you have so many toilets each, and then you just have a line of showers. Depending on what buildings you're in, some of them have doors, some of them don't, but you get used to it.
Yeah, it might not be for everyone, but
first week you're a bit shy, and then you start to warm up and you really don't care anymore.
Breaks down the walls a bit, so you all you get to know each other a lot quicker and you become a lot more solid friends.
Definitely.
And are they separated in male and female, the accommodation?
You're still in the same lines, just different bedrooms.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
John asked what the food is like here.
Yeah, good.
It's actually, it's actually
nice.
pretty good. Breakfast is favourite meal of the day. Gonna miss waking up to a nice cooked breakfast every day.
Yeah.
It's not gourmet by any standard because it's like for a lot of people, but there's a lot of it. It's it's good quality. There's plenty of variety.
Yeah. Even when you're out in the field, they make it pretty decent.
With your ration packs, it sort of all comes into the imagination. You can mix and match things and make your own sort of meals up.
They also have an option for everyone, whether you're vegetarian, vegan, and also for religious people. So Hindus can't eat beef, they'll have that, and they'll make sure that you get it, as well as lactose, gluten.
They sort of cater for everyone, yeah.
Yeah, and they give you snacks when you need them to, have when you need throughout the day, and water and drinks. So yeah, really can't complain about food.
No, great. Dan asked, how do you travel to Kapooka, and do you need to pay your way there?
No, it's all funded by Defence. So you make your way to your local Defence recruiting building for your enlistment day, and then they bus you to the airport, or depending on whether you need to fly here or not, they pay for you to fly, and they bus you from the airport here, or they'll just pick you up and take you straight here. It's all free.
Yeah, like I come from Melbourne, and that comes straight. It was just one bus. You met the morning, then you got here overnight, and you were straight into it.
Yeah, it varied for me because I'm from Perth, so Defence paid for a taxi to the airport, and then the flight to Melbourne, and then a night in accommodation in Melbourne, and then the bus up to Kapooka. So it was all
Similar
covered.
thing with
Doesn't matter
beef
where you are, they'll get you
Brisbane.
there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's good.
Great. Tash asked, is it best to learn how to make your bed, iron your clothes, and tie your hair up right before you go to Kapooka?
It does
100%.
make life easier.
They'll probably make beds slightly different. Like I'd look up what a hospital corner is and sort that out.
Yeah, if you knew how to do hospital corners well, then you're
set up?
You're set up, yeah.
If you get quick with all those things, it'll definitely help, yeah.
Yeah.
Ironing is a big one. You make sure the collars are flat. You get taught when you get here how to iron and make the beds properly, but having a little head start on that would be very handy.
Definitely.
Nathan asked, can you bring your own car?
No.
Not to
Not
basic
this
training, you can't.
No, but you wouldn't need it here anyway, because
Yeah, there's really no use for a car. It would just be sitting around. Once you leave here and get to your IETs, each IET is different. Each posting is different. Some allow you to, some don't, but basic training is a no.
IETs being initial employment training. So if it's sort of over, I think it's over 3 months or so. So if you're going into a trade like carpentry or something, you'll be there for maybe a year or so doing your apprenticeship. You're allowed to bring your car and things.
Now, Eloise, hearing about your experiences here at Kapooka it's really inspiring so far. So let's hear a little bit more about what other things people can look forward to when joining the Army.
Some of the important qualities I've learned here at Kapooka are teamwork and self-discipline. They're probably the main ones. Can't get anywhere in the Army without teamwork. Everything relies on your buddy, whether it just be your battle buddy, helping clear your weapons, or whether it be your whole section working together to get through challenges and obstacles along the way. Self-discipline is also another big one. Meeting timings, you've really got to knuckle down on that. Some of the PT activities you do are endurance running, obstacle course training, bayonet assault course, and you also do a high ropes course. Before you head into that sort of training, you do quite a lot of strength in the gym just to work you up to it. And then you go on to the more in-depth training like obstacle course training and RDJ. Everyone has your back here. It's like a big family. You bond together well and gain friendships that you'll have for life, and they just motivate you and encourage you. So any obstacle that you face, it's kind of easy to get through with them supporting you. My favourite thing so far here at Kapooka would have to be the obstacle course. It's like a big kids playground sort of thing. You work together as a team, you get to do cool activities, you learn lots of skills that will be used in the wider army. The first week I was here, I noticed myself growing, knowing that you can get through it, having confidence in yourself, whether that be like your physical fitness isn't up to it, you just have to believe in yourself and believe in the training. They do it for a reason and you'll get through it.
So it's great to hear about what areas of education and field training you go through here at Kapooka. Do you have any tips for potential candidates who are thinking about joining the Army?
Just go for it, give it your best shot. If worst comes to worst, you can leave. It's not a jail, you're not stuck here for life. It's a really good experience. No matter what, it's worthwhile. Everything that I've done so far here I could take back into the normal civilian life and it would benefit me in so many more ways than I ever thought. So yeah, just give it all you've got, and if you're thinking about it, just go for it.
You're never going to find out if it's for you unless you try.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, we'll have a bit of a chat about the recruiting process now, going through Defence Force recruiting to enlist. Brock has asked, do you have any tips for the assessment day interview that perhaps you wish you'd known before you'd gone through?
Probably just be yourself. They're not looking for anyone in particular. They are, but it's not, you don't have to change who you are to fit that certain role. They're looking for someone who's, yourself. You've got to be yourself to be here.
100%.
Be comfortable.
Just go in as yourself. Know a little bit about the job roles that you're applying for, so your preferences. They normally ask you, why you chose that job role. Have a bit of a background on that and what it'll entail, so what you're actually going to be doing in there. They just want to know that and understand that you know what you're doing. But yeah, just be yourself and it's a breeze.
You don't want to sound like a robot sort of thing.
Yeah.
No, definitely not. But the Defence Jobs website as well had all the information you need on each job role. So it'll outline what employment training you have to do once you finish Kapooka as well. So how many weeks you'll have to do for each of your initial employment trainings. So that's really helpful, and that's good information to read up on before you go for your assessment day.
Yeah, for sure. Would you recommend people be proactive perhaps in getting any reporting or paperwork back?
Yeah,
Definitely.
the faster you jump on it, the faster you can get in and actually enlist. The second they send you back any paperwork, any of your medical forms, jump on it straight away, and being early won't hurt. The faster you do it, the faster you get here.
You'll get reminders and things, and they won't let you slip through the cracks and leave you behind. But if you're not proactive about it, it's going to take as long as possible. If you're on top of it, it's going to be real quick.
Yeah. It can be quite smooth as well if you are getting all your paperwork in and ticking all the boxes, and it can be a really smooth process.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about each of your application processes, I guess. You've all come from very different areas and very different job roles. So how was the application process for you?
So for me, it was pretty smooth. I went in for my U session, and around about 6 months later, I was enlisting, which is pretty decent time frame compared to some others that I've heard who have had more complicated things with medical assessments and things like that. So yeah, it was really smooth. I was receiving emails and updates and calls when needed, and just getting the paperwork done ASAP was pretty helpful. I had to do a bit extra for some travel history, things like that, but it was all pretty straightforward and yeah, really smooth for myself.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, for me it was pretty smooth sailing. I managed to get an enlistment date within 4 months of my U session, so that's pretty fast. It was something I really wanted to do, so I kept on top of all the paperwork and medical and all that. I had quite a long medical history that I needed to go through and get checked over by obviously defence doctors, and just some extra testing done to make sure I was fit for the Army. But if you keep on top of it, you can get through it really quite fast. It also just depends on what job role you're going for, depending on whether they have an intake for you or a need for you in that job role, depends on how fast you can actually get into it.
It took me probably 2 years or so, but that was on my own accord. They were giving me job offers and helping me along the way, but I got an injury and I put it off for a year and moved houses and things like that. And the whole time I was getting job offers. I think I got about 4 or 5 over like the span of maybe 7 or so months.
Oh, wow.
And you can knock them back and they'll still give you one, but you don't want to pick one that's, you don't want. You get 3 options. You don't want to take one just because it's coming. So it is all right to knock them back, and they will still try and fill the role for you.
Yeah, don't feel the need to just jump into your first preference, to the first offer you get. Go for what you'd be more likely to enjoy and like. There's no point just picking the first one that jumps to you if it's something that you're not interested in.
You're not going to get in trouble just for not accepting a job offer. It's fine.
Not the only job offer you're going to get.
Yeah, it's not the only one you're going to get either. There are going to be more. I got a lot.
Yeah.
And at one of the sessions, you actually talk through with someone from Defence Force Recruiting about what you'd be most suitable to, so that's helpful as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. Genevieve asked, do they support you if you struggle in areas of training, physical or classroom based? So I guess this is once you're at Kapooka.
100%.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
You never get left behind. Like, for instance, on weapons, if you don't pass first try, you'll get 4 or 5, 6 more attempts. They want you to get in, and it might be that specific learning style or teaching style that isn't getting through to you. So they'll bounce you off different recruit instructors and even platoon sergeants and platoon commanders until it sort of gets to you.
You never fail something here. It's just a different pathway you take to succeed. Everything's like a learning curve. For myself, I didn't pass the PFA in week 1, and all my section commanders, the corporals, they all kind of motivated me, they pushed me, they helped me. I went over to Digger Jangs where I did PT to build my strength so I could get to those push-ups needed, and you can stay there until your fitness is up to it, and then you go just straight back into where you were in training and you keep going on. They're so helpful, and they want to see you succeed. They don't want to push you back, they just want to see you like build up, and yeah, they help so much.
Yeah, they give you every opportunity to succeed. So the other day we were doing our weapon firing test on the range, and there were some people who were struggling with that a bit, and the instructors just stayed there for hours, just giving them extra training, doing the test again, extra training, doing the test again, and eventually they got there, and then the platoon sergeant was talking on the bus on the way back about how proud he was of those people for just sticking with it and continuing to go and try again after a few failures. So yeah, they really want to see everyone pass all the assessments.
Got every opportunity in the world to succeed, and if you don't the first time, you just get retrained and you pass the next. It's super easy. Yeah,
fantastic.
100%.
Josh asked what specific areas of fitness are the most important?
So for the PFA, the that you require to join. You have to do the push-ups, and so for males 15, females 8. You have to do the beep test, or 7.5 and 45 sit-ups. So it's important to work on those areas, specifically the push-ups. A lot of people struggle with, and then the running as well is helpful. The sit-ups tend to be the easiest for most people. For myself, being a reservist, when we enlist back at the home unit, we go in on Tuesday nights and they do PT with us, so they get us ready for what's required here at Kapooka physically, which is really helpful.
Yeah.
It's like only a baseline, isn't it?
Yeah, so if you focus on those 3 components, they're there for a reason. Like if you can get to your 15 or your 8 push-ups, your 45 sit-ups and your 7.5 on the beep test, that will give you what you need to start training here. Anything extra is obviously
Big help.
and
it's
it
going to
makes,
make it so much
makes
easier.
your life easier, but a challenge along the way isn't too bad either.
It's all designed to, that baseline, it's all designed to like train you from there.
Yeah.
So it's going to help to be, like, if you can beat that or smash it, it's like, that's fine, you're going to, easy. But you're not going to struggle as long as you're on that baseline, because it's all designed to build from that point.
Yeah.
How would you recommend to prepare yourself physically before applying?
There is an app, Defence Force fitness app. I'm not exactly sure of the name of it, but it is on the Defence website. That gives you everything that you need. Like, it'll give you exercises to do that will help build those muscles that you need for your push-ups. It'll give you like the tone that you need to complete your sit-ups in. It's all done in a certain way, and yeah, it really helps. Like if you stick to that prior to enlisting, you'll be able to smash it easily.
Yeah, even just a bit of like running by yourself of a morning or of a night, just basic weights in the gym. Like there's 24-hour gyms. If you don't have time after, you can go after work or before work, or if you've got a regular schedule. Just anything basic. Like you don't really need an advanced level of fitness. They sort of get you that point.
Yeah.
It's as simple as doing some push-ups each night before you go to bed, doing a few sit-ups, or even just running around your block. You don't have to have a gym membership. You don't have to be able to do all of the fancy weights and all that. Just, literally run around the block, do a few push-ups and you'll be able to do it.
Yeah, the app is helpful though. I believe it gives you some pointers on the technique, because there's certain techniques required, especially for the push-ups.
Yeah,
that a
big
few
on
people
technique here.
might struggle with, so it's important.
Technique is key.
Yeah, it definitely is. But they help you here as well. So if you have a problem with the assessment once you get here, we had some people that struggled with it, and they had another opportunity to pass the assessment as well after the initial time. So once again, they want you to pass, and they'll help you to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now that is the ADF Active app that you can grab. You can download that one. It has got some really great techniques, and the push-ups, you were saying they are done to a cadence as well. So
the push-ups aren't, the sit-ups are, cadence sit-ups. You've got 2 minutes to do your push-ups. So you could take your time, go into the rest position and then keep going, Yeah,
great. Tash has asked, what do the yellow and green tabs mean?
Okay, so I'm an Army reservist, so part-time, so that's why I have a green tab.
And these ones here just dictate what week we are in training. So when you march in, you start off on your red tabs, and you're on them for 3 weeks.
It's 3
to 4
3
weeks.
to 4.
Then you go into blue tabs, and that's basically your middle part of the training. And then when you're in the final leg of it, you get your gold tabs just before you go outfield.
It feels like just such a small thing. Like you wouldn't think it'd be anything, but when you actually get them, you do have a big sense of like accomplishment.
Unfortunately, reservists don't get to, go up the colours, but you don't realise how much it means to, recruits. Like you finally get that blue tab and you go, oh yeah, I'm not the new person anymore. Like I'm a little bit further up there, and you sit there in your first few weeks and you look at the gold tabs and you're sitting there going, oh, how good would it be to be there marching out in a few weeks' time? Like we're counting down the days now. We've only got like 2 weeks to go, and
a bit straighter.
100%. Just
2 weeks until you march out?
Yeah, 13 days I think.
Yeah, something like that.
We're outfield.
Stage.
Yeah, it's getting close.
Not counting the days.
I definitely am.
Jack, look, it sounds like you're really enjoying your time here at Kapooka. So let's hear a little bit more about your journey to becoming a qualified soldier and what types of skills that you've learnt here.
Coming to Kapooka, I've sort of done a lot of med training. You get the basics like splinting wounds, learning how to treat snake bites, insect bites, things like that. But you also learn to check for fractures, abdominal irregularities, learn how to properly put people in the recovery position and things and properly check airways and stuff like that. A lot of other first aid courses I've done previously, they sort of touched on everything slightly. Here, through our med week, we actually went quite in depth. Over the course of our weapons training, we learned all so it started with our safety and just learning the different parts of the weapon, then learning how it worked, then went through our safety drills and stoppages, and then we moved into our rifle practices. I was kind of not that good at it at the start, and I was quite worried I wasn't going to pick it up, but you do really learn it quite easily, and you do have great teachers here. We've only just started our field experience. We've been at Camp Blue for 2 days. I sort of knew what to expect when coming here, but it was sort of the little things that I didn't really like, the timings of everything that I didn't really expect it. Like, I thought it would take a lot longer to adjust, and I didn't think I would really adjust as much as I did. I made a few friends quite quickly as well, and because you're all sharing that same experience, you bounce off each other, and it's much easier than, you know, a lot of my mates who have been in previously told me that would be. It is very serious, but you've got to know when to turn it on and off. Like, I have jokes with my section commanders a lot, and I thought it would be nothing like that. I thought it would be just 100% straight edged 100% of the time. But just try it, because it's not as bad as you think it would be. Like, I thought it was going to be really stressful, but I really enjoy it now. Like, even after the first couple of days, I really started to enjoy it.
So you moved from Tasmania to come here for training at Kapooka. Seems like you definitely made a great choice by coming here. You definitely
100%.
think so. What challenges might you have faced moving away from your family?
For me personally, it wasn't too bad, because I've been living out of home already for 2.5 years-ish. But it's definitely, if you're living at home or you're a bit younger and living at home, it is a bit of a culture shock, and you don't get to talk to them as much as you'd like to, which can be really hard for people, especially like you got your phone all day now, you know, you can just check it, message people whenever you want, you can talk to people whenever you want. And you come here and it's pretty much only the people around you. But in a way, it's hard at first, but in a way you sort of start to appreciate that, because you start to appreciate the people around you more, and you do make more friends that way as well. So it's easy to focus on your training as well. Yeah, so in a way, it's sort of a blessing to not be able to go on it as much as I'd like to. And it's sort of at the end of the week, when you do get it, you've got a lot more to report back to your family, and it's actually, you know, oh, I've done this, I've done that. It's not just like, hey, went for lunch today sort of thing.
Same old, same old.
100%. Being 18, fresh from home, I'd spent, maximum of 10 days away from mum when I went on a overseas school holiday, and you miss home, you get a bit homesick, but you appreciate the time you do have on the phone to them so much more, and March out especially will be like something that you look forward to, and you'll be able to not take small things for granted anymore, like seeing your family and being able to talk to them every day, because in reality, like the wider army, you're not going to be probably able to see them every day, especially if you get on a deployment. So it's good to get that sort of learning now, and maybe tough the first few weeks, but you learn to appreciate it, and especially the time you have.
Yeah, absolutely. Isabel has asked, when do you find out where you will be posted once you complete your initial training?
So you don't find out here at Kapooka. You go over to your initial employment training, so your IETs, and you do your specialised training in what field you're going into there. And from there you find out where you'll be posted. You get to put in preferences, but it's all on supply and demand, depending on whether you're needed in a certain area. Like, you can be posted to Brisbane, but you wanted to go to Darwin or something like that. It's just where the job is, you can go to.
I believe if you've got family, so if your partner's living in Brizzy or in Darwin, they'll sort of try and accommodate that so that you can like live close to a base where your family's already living, if you've got kids or a wife or husband.
But then they'll also do everything they can. If you can't get to your hometown, they'll help support you and help move your family to a different area.
Yeah, fantastic. Morgan has asked how difficult the testing is at Kapooka. So your fitness test, the first one you do versus your last.
We just did our last one.
Did you?
Yeah, so week 1 you do one, then again in week 9 just before you go outfield.
First one you don't have to pass, you want to pass it, but it's sort of just to gauge where you're at.
Yep.
And then, yeah, from week 1 to week 9, you don't think you've improved that much, but especially starting off at a lower standard, I've seen it's dramatic increase in fitness. I could barely do 5 push-ups, and now I'm getting over 20. And even running as well, we don't do a lot of endurance, but you're running just from walking around everywhere and utilising your feet instead of a car. It makes a big difference. 7.5 on a beat test is now a breeze, can get to 9, 10, and yeah, it's crazy how much you improve.
We got to it and thought it was going to be backwards, but
yeah,
in the end everyone improved, yeah.
Yeah, they cater for all fitness levels at the start really well, and they sort of build you up week by week. So it's not like you get here and then have the fitness test and then they just start smashing you with the pack marches and weights or anything like that. They just start you off, teach you all your technique, and then build up there with your running and with your weights and things like that. So it's achievable for everyone.
The same thing with academic testing. They start you off and they teach you everything you need to know. So it's pretty easy, the testing here. They give you all the information you need and they'll help you. Lots of them are right after you've just had a lesson on it, so still fresh in your memory, and then you go straight into it and you remember it all.
It's all really crawl, walk, run. They don't just push you into the deep end straight away. They make sure you're ready for it.
Yeah, great. John asked when you do the fitness assessment at Kapooka, so given that you've just done yours, I guess, a few weeks out?
Yeah, week 1 and week 9.
Yep.
So you do your one in week 1 to make sure that you're still fit after your first, obviously the PFA before you join. Just make sure you're still up to that minimum standard, and then from there, just before you go outfield, to make sure that you're fit enough and healthy enough to actually complete 10 days of walking and
without getting an injury.
Vigorous training, yeah.
Yeah, so the PFA is the pre-enlistment fitness assessment. So yeah, you do it before you get here, and then again once you get here.
Yeah, great. Craig asked how much PT you do every day.
Depends where you are in training. So I know for myself and Jack, the first 6 weeks or so, we would do PT 2 to 3 times a week, mainly strength and endurance, just to get you up to that standard for your last few weeks, where you start knuckling down on bayonet assault course, obstacle course, high ropes, different things like that, just to make sure that you do have that extra fitness. Pretty sure it's similar for reserves.
Yeah, same for us. It's about 2 or 3 times a week, and yeah, so we've had a few running sessions, and they teach you about running technique and about different styles of training to do, and we've had a session in the pool as well, which again, they're not making you swim lap after lap or anything. It's about sort of how to enter water, and then just ensuring that you can swim a few laps comfortably.
Yep.
So that's one thing that people may want to expose themselves to before coming, is just getting comfortable with water, and maybe just being able to tread a bit of water as well.
Okay.
It's more survival technique type swimming rather than just freestyle lap after lap.
Yeah.
So, if you've got to swim long distance because something happened and you've got to cross a body of water, but you're all kitted up, they'll show you the easiest way to do that, and the one that will not tire you out as fast. It's all about just surviving the water rather than becoming a professional swimmer.
Yeah, you don't have to be a great swimmer. It's a good thing to know, though.
Yeah.
To swim.
Yeah.
Well, Maddie has asked, can you explain more about the swim test? So is that what you're discussing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's right.
it's 30 metres of any style of stroke that they show you, and then you just tread water for 2 minutes. It is done in your cams. You don't have boots on though.
Okay.
So it's a bit harder than just normally swimming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not a difficult test. It's just to make sure that you can swim and can float for.
There's
for a
no
period of
time limit on how fast you get from one end of the pool to the other. You could take all day if you wanted to, just to swim that 30 metres.
Yeah.
You get a break at the end, hold on to the wall, and then once everyone's there, kick off, tread water for 2 minutes, and that's it, done. It's really a tick or a flick whether you can or can't swim, and
Yeah.
don't stress it too much because they help you, they teach you, but yeah, it would be a nice thing to know before you come in.
Yeah, and there wasn't a strict requirement to pass it either, so we had a few people who struggled with the swim test, but they're still here, still going. So
They will teach you at your IETs as well.
Okay.
They like in the future because it's a good life skill as well.
Yeah.
So it's not something that's necessary. It's highly recommended, but they will teach you, and you can learn in the wider army.
Cool. Logan asked, what's the process if you get injured or sick in any aspect of your training?
That's one for you.
So they have like a RAP, so it's the recruit. I don't know the actual term for it, but it's basically just like your doctors. You go there, you can see a doctor, a nurse, any injury, like whether it be a cut or whether you feel sick, they'll give you everything you need. We also have a hospital here on base, so if you break a bone or get gastro or something, you go to hospital, they'll fix that up for you. You can stay there for a bit, put in isolation if it's something that other people could catch. And then, you just go back to training or you go back into DJs just until you are able to get back to the standard, and then you go straight back into a platoon and keep on going from where you left off.
The best part about it, it's all sort of paid for. You don't pay for anything.
So it's all free medical and
after.
dental. If you get injured here, they'll look after you quite well.
You will be rehabilitated to the
Yeah,
best
they
they
have-
can, which is quite a high standard, yeah.
They have an on-site physio, so for people who like have calf injuries or any muscle type problem, they are always open, ready to go. I had to go to physio quite a bit when I first got here, every week for the first 6 weeks. So they definitely help you out.
yeah, and then you covered, you get some restrictions if need be from either the doctor or the physio, and then if it comes to the PT or the exercise session, you just let the instructor know about your restrictions. So
We've had plenty of people sprain ankles and just not be able to run or do quite heavy training. So
They haven't been
they
held
just
back
get
at
a
all.
no PT chit, which just means you can't do PT. And once you're healed, you can go back to full duties, no restrictions, and you're back in training.
Yeah, wonderful. Hunter asked, which I guess has to do with this other question as well, if there's a variety of ages at Kapooka. So Hunter asked if you recommend joining the Defence Force straight from high school, or, I mean, is that necessary? But there are a variety of ages.
Me
here at Kapooka.
personally, I'd say it all depends per person. Me personally, I liked having a year or so off after school just to sort of enjoy myself, and I worked in a few different jobs, got a bit of life experience. But then there are people who have just come straight after school. There are a few 17-year-olds. There's a couple that didn't even finish the end of year 12. I'd recommend you probably do it because it's a good thing, but they come in and they don't struggle with it at all. And we all sort of get along. There's even people who are retreads, so they've been in the army, discharged, and then they've joined again. I think Koonan's about 40. So it's such a wide variety. It's sort of all up to you, really.
You get ages 17 all the way through to like 50.
Yeah.
And you're all same level, same knowledge. Like no one, whether your age matters here. Like you're all going through the same training, and
You're all trained the same.
working and everything as a team. I personally, I had 6 months off after school, but I love coming straight after school. I thought it was good. When you finished your first set time, mine's 4 years, I'm still going to be quite young and still got like heaps of time left. But if you've worked a few jobs in your life, you've got a few degrees, you've gone around, there's no problem with joining in your 40s. It's all up to you.
Yeah, we got our platoon ranges from 17 till about 50 in age, and it's just like a big family really. After the first few days, everyone gets along really well and working as a team. I think for myself, would have liked to maybe have enlisted, when I was a bit younger, straight out of school, but just as happy to, like at that age it would have been good just for the discipline and all the skills you learn here, but as well it's nice to come in with a bit of life experience, and just as happy to be here at this age now. So
having those few older people in your platoon help out when you've
Definitely.
got to iron and you're fresh from high school, your parents probably done it your life. We have a few 17-year-olds go knocking on the older guy's door. Can you
like a
help
fill-in
me?
dad.
Yeah.
Excuse me, it's like the platoon's dad, yeah.
Well, I mean, Gabriella has asked, is there a maximum age requirement? There will be for each job role, and that will differ. So on each job page on the Defence Jobs website, you will find the max or minimum and maximum age requirement for them there. But so you say there is a wide variety. They can reach up to 55, around 55, 60, so long as they know they're completing all the same kind of physical training as you guys.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's all like they do the exact same as us, no matter how old or young.
Yeah. Yeah, wonderful. Now, we've had a great chat about your experiences here at Kapooka and a bit about your instructors and the ways they've been able to support you. So we actually caught up with Gabrielle, an instructor here at Kapooka, and she gave us some great insight on what new recruits should expect when joining the Army and when starting out. So let's have a look at that.
The training that we do with the recruits is extremely varied, depending on the skill sets, all of the skill sets that we need for them to march out here as basic foundation soldiers ready for their job training. So for instance, today we're doing F-89 minimi training with the recruits after they've just done 5 days of live fire practices with their rifle training. Prior to that, we've been doing radio packages, and they're about to move into their field training. So my role is to give them the skill set that they require, as well as the attitudes and the behaviours that we need for Australian soldiers. So to stand up tall and embody what it means to actually be in the Army. So, it's not enough that they can operate a weapon or navigate or use a radio properly. The way that they interact with each other and have pride in their uniform and conduct themselves is what we strive to get to that excellent standard. They get here and it's a huge scary world with all these people and a lot of noise, and then they start listening and paying attention, and their skills rapidly improve to confident, well-spoken, able soldiers marching out that are proud of themselves, and they walk out wearing this uniform and keen to go on to their next stage of training. The fitness program that we have here is designed to get the recruits to a field phase of training, so they're not going to march out of Kapooka, super bodybuilding strength and extreme cardio fitness. It's soldier-related fitness levels that's important here, but Kapooka will get you to the standard of fitness that we need you to be at. My favourite part would probably be when the recruits themselves can recognise that they've actually got the abilities that they didn't think that they could do or that they've got from their day one. So when for instance, when they're marching out and they say, yeah, I've got this, or I'm excited to go to my AT course, I can do this, because they have passed everything, they've backed themselves, and their confidence has just gone through the roof. In your first few weeks here at Kapooka, it doesn't matter what skill set or background you've come from, what skills you do or don't have. My role as an instructor is to get your skills to the standard Army needs. If you march in here with an open, can-do, eager attitude, and you show us confidence when we ask you to show confidence and listen, you'll have no problems, absolutely no problems.
Thank you for sending through your questions so far. We are here for a little while longer, so do make sure you're sending through your final few questions. James asked, what's field training like and how long are you out there for?
We've just started our field training, me and Jack. So it goes for 10 days. You're at Camp Blue, which is like almost like a progression area. So
Like a staging area.
Yeah, you start off there and you learn the basics of field. So you learn how to put up a hoochie, which is like your little tent that you sleep in. You'll learn, section attacks and different things that you'll need for outfield. And you're there for the first 2 days before hiking it out to the actual field area.
And you sort of move away, it's moving more from platoon training, so training with I think we have 35 people, to working in sections, which is your smaller team of 12 or so. So I'll be out field with my Corporal Lowe, my section commander, and he'll be teaching us sort of how to operate in the field and passing on his knowledge about like he's learnt in 14 or so years in the army.
Yeah.
Beneficial, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
very
ourselves,
beneficial.
we do, I think it's 3 or 4 days out in the field as a reservist. So we are yet to start that. We're still doing a bit of training. They've just had us doing some pack marching to sort of get ready for walking out there and things like that. But yeah, we've been provided with all the sleeping bag and our hoochie and everything we need for outfield. So still looking forward to that component.
Out there is just really trying to prepare you for if you were to go a combat role or something like that or support, like you're going to go on field exercises really no matter what corps you're going into, and this is just your basic field to get you set for when you do have to do that. Sometimes it can be the hardest one you'll do if you're going for dental or something like that. Other times it could be the easiest one if you're going infantry. So you'll be picket, so you sit out there and watch out at night time to make sure no enemies try and attack you during the night. You eat out of ration packs, so all food that doesn't go off and you can just make with some hot water or cold water if there's fire restrictions like there is now. But no, it's really good and you learn lots out there.
That's where it's sort of everything you've learnt over the 9 or so weeks culminates into one big activity.
Yeah.
And it's sort of putting everything to play that like in a practical sort of environment.
And then your last day of field is your challenge, so it's kind of what all the sections and all the platoons look forward to. You start off with a pack march, you do obstacle course, you do section attacks, you do a little med training stand, you do the bayonet assault course, and yeah, that's basically the end of training and everyone loves it, everyone wants to win the challenge. But yeah, it's just whoever does it the fastest, best, yeah, they win. And it's just something everyone looks forward to.
And I mean, you talk about these really sort of tough experiences like going out field and the obstacle courses. I'm sure they must feel really tough, but talk a little bit about the sense of achievement that you must feel once you get through those, and indeed the end of your training here at Kapooka.
Like during, to say for instance the bayonet course, during it, you feel like it's only one go through, it's only 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes sort of thing, depending on how fast you are, and it kind of sucks at the time, but it's one of those things where as soon as you finish and you've caught your breath, you look back and it was like, that was wicked and I want to go again. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, while you're doing it, like you could be running that obstacle course, it's 700 metres, doesn't seem like that far, but when you're climbing up things, you've got your webbing on, you've got a weapon in your hand and you're just riding as fast as you can, trying to get there. It's definitely draining and you just sit there in the moment and you go, what the heck am I doing? Like, why am I putting myself through this? But then when you finish it, you go, that was so much fun. Like, look at what we've achieved. Like, let's do it again. You really when doing the bayonet assault course or obs course, you really realise what you're here for and you realise that all the training's been worth it. And even though it doesn't feel like it at the time because you're sweating like a pig and you're panting, you're just trying to catch your breath, you realise it's really fun.
Yeah, I've never done anything here that I've sort of struggled at and afterwards haven't wanted to do it again or haven't felt a big sense of accomplishment or thought maybe I could have given a bit more. Like it's always, you look back on it and it's great.
Yeah, I agree. We did the bayonet assault course this morning. It was great fun. It was not so nice being woken up that early and forced out there to do it, but yeah, as soon as everyone had done it and even during it, it's good fun. Everyone's having, well, not so many laughs during it, but especially after having a good laugh. So yeah, that sense of achievement's really good. Yeah.
Be able to talk about this stuff later as well, and years from now, the kind of things that you're doing here in training, that must be awesome.
Pretty unique, yeah. Yeah,
especially getting woken up on the day of the bayonet assault course. We thought it was just going to be a normal morning. We'd been told, oh no funny business. The next minute we're getting, come on everyone, get ready, put your cam paint on. Music starts playing, we're all running around, getting our weapons, getting our bayonets, and next minute we're just screaming and putting, yeah, it was pretty fun. And it's definitely an experience that not everyone gets to try, especially outside of here. You don't do anything like it. But in here, it's just something that everyone looks forward to doing.
Makes it
Whether
all
you're a
worthwhile,
reservist, a full-timer, anyone, yeah, it's just really enjoyable.
Yeah, yeah.
Karen's asked, what are some of the benefits you get both while training at Kapooka and I suppose in the wider army as well?
So while training at Kapooka, I don't personally, but a lot of the other guys I train with have dependents at home, so like kids or a spouse, and they do get monetary compensation for that. So they won't pay for meals here if they've got kids at home, and if they have a spouse, you've obviously got to prove de facto or be married, but if you've got a spouse, you do get paid a little extra just to help with the difficulties that you've quit your job wherever and you've just gone halfway across the country or, the whole way across the country to be away from them, and they do pay you, and it's a good amount more for that difficulty. And then in the wider army, there are a lot more like rent assistance and things like that. They do look after you. You get good you get good medical coverage and things all free. And yeah.
Good medical coverage.
Really
free
good
medical coverage.
Yeah.
Free medical,
Definitely good.
yeah, free medical, free dental, free physio. You got psychologists you could go to for life for free. So once you've spent one day in the army, you're covered for life to see a psychiatrist. They're really good on all that sort of stuff. And then on top of that, they help you with like defence housing, all that sort of stuff. You can get extra pay, like Jack said about having family. Like they take that into consideration, and if you can prove that you've got children or are married, being away from home takes toll on them as well as you, so they'll help as much as they can with that.
Yeah, and as a reservist, you get tax-free pay while you're here, which is always a good thing. And you also get a field allowance for the days you are outfield, which is a bit additional, and a reserve allowance on top of your pay as well. So there's lots of benefits that way. While we're here as well, we get cover for any dental or medical needs that we require. And as well for people that have other jobs, like certain jobs, like there's a few police here and a few firefighters or other certain jobs if you're in your own business. Like the police get some military leave as well, additional to sick leave and annual leave. So that's a good incentive as well, especially for them.
There's some great incentives even for employers of reservists as well,
Definitely.
Which you can read about on the Defence Jobs website. But you're paid from day one here at Kapooka, and things that people might not even consider, like you're being paid to exercise.
Yeah, exactly.
Chuck aside the gym memberships, you're
I know.
getting paid to go.
You don't need to pay for a gym membership again. You could just go to a base and use their gym. Yeah, it's pretty good. You also don't pay Medicare levy anymore. So that's pretty good. But once you leave, obviously, they all go back to normal.
Those are all some great benefits. We do have one last question, and Jed has asked, what would you say has been the most rewarding part of your training so far?
That's tough. Probably meeting everyone. Like, you go from not knowing who they are to almost like creating a bond like family within a week. Like, you've got no time to dislike someone. Like, whether you like them or not is out of the picture.
Got to work with them.
You've got to work with them. But apart from that, like bayonet course and obs course are the main ones.
Definitely. I did the, I think it was abseiling, and I'm fine with heights going up or down, but just having to wait at the top of the tower and looking down, it made my legs a bit,
Yeah.
And like after doing it though, when I get down, I'm like, oh, that really wasn't that bad, go back up, do it again. It's the same deal, but it gets a bit easier every time. It was quite rewarding because you do it 3 or 4 times throughout the day, you saw how you progressed, and by the end of it I could sort of stand a lot easier and wasn't as nervous at the top, so that was quite rewarding for me.
Yeah, I think the friendships is like you build bonds with people from maybe 2 days in, and yeah, they just continue to grow. Everyone's working so well as a team from the get-go, really. So that's super rewarding. For myself, at the firing range was one of my better achievements, because I struggled the first day on the indoor firing, and then when we went out to the range, got better and better through the week. So that was really good. It's not the nicest environment out there sometimes. It's, yeah, swallowing flies and stuff, and it's pretty warm. But yeah, sense of achievement, getting a good grouping, or doing well with the firing test was really cool.
Believe it or not, gassing is actually a fun day as well. Lots of people go, oh no, and they dread it. But once you get there and you do it, you're kind of proud of yourself. You're like, oh, that wasn't too bad. Like, you freak out to start with and you go, oh, what the heck?
Crying.
And your nose runs and your eyes are like just running. And
It's like, if I could do that, I can do anything really. It's not
yeah,
that hard.
Absolutely.
yeah, 100%. Like, hear people joking later on, oh, I'd go get gassed again for a nice hot meal, or oh, I'd go get gassed just to get a chocolate bar. Yeah, so you end up enjoying the things that you shouldn't enjoy, but you end up liking it. Yeah, it's pretty fun.
That's awesome, guys. Well, that is all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for all your questions, and thank you for answering them for us, guys. Remember, you can jump onto the Defence Jobs website to apply online or find out more information about Kapooka, any of these job roles, or indeed any job role at all within the Defence Force. Any other questions that we haven't answered, we will get to you within the next few days. So thank you, and we'll see you next time.